Hey everybody. Well, here we are after the disaster that was last year. I think things turned out pretty well. Come take a look. So here's a herb garden and vegetable garden. We got a lot of stuff that came back. We got our chives, garlic chives, fennel's going nuts, rue, everything else, valerian. You can see I've already super pruned the catmint because it would have taken over already. You know, things are coming back. It is the week after Mother's Day, so typically I would have had this all planted by now. However, we had a little bit of snow on Tuesday, so yeah, I'm really happy with what came back. We'll see what else comes up. Like this little thing just popped up this week, and you can see some other stuff I don't quite recognize off the bat, so before I go nuts and try and repopulate some of the stuff, we'll see what comes back. But right now I picked up a bunch of tomatoes, and this is all the leaves from our yard this fall. This was full. I mean, this was overflowing to here, and really all I did was turn this over a couple times over the winter. So yeah, I got to get this taken out and dig all these leaves into the dirt. Yeah, so let's get on that. But first, let me show you something here. Instead of my over-complex ridiculousness last year with the cold frame, these are all my seeds. I planted these about 5-6 weeks ago, and they've just been sitting out on this board, and I figure I could just grab this board and take it in if I needed to. You know, it's not like they had a heat mat under them or anything, so they haven't been going really fast, but you know, you can see I got a ton of chamomile coming up, and James's bluebells he's really happy about. Those are going nuts. We got this hyssop just starting, and these goji berries I planted from a bag of dried goji berries that was 5 years old. I didn't think these would come up, but man, these are going nuts. So want some cat grass for the cat. This was under a little light all winter. I had hoped this would fill in with this Scotch moss, whatever, because I want to do kind of a moss lawn in the backyard. So yeah, excited about that. We'll see, but once these get a little bit bigger, we'll plant them. And here's my basil and my tomatoes and my peppers, and I actually found a decent rhubarb on sale. So yeah, it's been a little slow going. We had a little incident a few weeks ago with some snow. Let's see if you can see this. This gorgeous, beautiful elm tree up here. There's some poor little squirrels who had a nest in the middle of it there, and this sucker was, you know, 18 inches around and 40 feet long. This branch came and ripped out all of our electrical. Oh, we have a guest star here. Hi. You having some grass? You can see Monty's had his mid-spring shave down. He just gets so matted. We brush him as often as we can, but the mats seem to appear overnight. So he really enjoys his spring trim, and then he gets another one in July, August. He really likes it. I'll have to record it because it's funny how much he enjoys it. So yeah, he's our little lion now. You want to hold him up? Oh, hi. Anyway, so yeah, we had that big old branch come down, rip out all of our electrical, and the yard was just a disaster. I still have some cleaning up to do there. So anyway, let's get this garden in. Now you can see For the most part, this is some rich black soil, but these leaf mats build up over the winter. And even though I turned this 2 or 3 times over the winter, I didn't really do too terribly good a job because these all break down really quick anyway, but I can smell that anaerobic decay. There's a lot of good smell to it, so good decay, but once I mix this into the soil, there's a ton of worms in here. They're gonna go nuts, and I mean, look at how beautiful that soil is. So I get those big tomatoes. I had to shut the camera off because it's starting to sprinkle a little bit, spitting here and there. But basically, the process is, turn it into the soil, run a rake through it just to make sure you're breaking up the clumps, rinse and repeat until you're happy. I'll spread this nice and flat. But I did want you to see, this is what our native soil looks like here. Very clayey, very hard when the sun bakes it. We've been fortunate enough to have been having a couple weeks worth of rain for the past 3 weeks actually, and it looks like we're going to get another week of rain, so things are going to get a good start. But if this was a typical spring here, I couldn't even break this with my hands. This would be like a brick. So turning this into this is just wonderful. Well, and there you have it. The bed is prepared, relatively level. Everything's broken up enough that it's going to decompose nicely. You can see it's really fluffy. A lot of air in there to help the bacteria and everything break these leaves and grass. Sticks won't hurt anything. Little guys like this anyway. But they'll break this down. And this is going to be really nice. All right. Here we are. We got the rows ready for our tomatoes. Nice and deep, and it's going to make them grow nicely. And I put a little bit of organic matter here for the peppers, but the peppers really like the clay and sand, so that'll just kind of help keep the moisture up underneath and keep them happy. So anyway, James here, he's going to walk us through what we're planting this year. So James, what do we got for tomatoes this year?
Okay, so for tomatoes, we have Super Sweet 100.
Can you take them out and show us?
Okay, so this is Super Sweet 100. We have one of them, and then we have 2 of these Roma tomatoes. We have this one big boy, one of this early girl tomato, and 2 Brandywines.
So these are my go-to tomato varieties that I grow every year. This year I'm doing a little something different. Usually I do a whole bunch of Super Sweet 100s just because the kids love them. You walk by the garden, grab a handful, pop them in your mouth. But this year we had a lot of tomatoes, and I made tomato spaghetti sauce out of it, and it was really hard to make it taste good because of all the different varieties of tomatoes we had. They weren't really meant for spaghetti sauce. So this year I decided to do a couple Romas instead, and we'll see what happens. But I did do 2 Brandywines. I usually just do 1 Brandywine and I get about 5 or 6 out of it, but it's my absolute favorite tomato, so I hope we get a bunch more this year. Anyway, hey, James, we're gonna do some peppers?
Yeah!
What kind of peppers?
Okay, so we have one of this yellow bell pepper, 2 of these bell peppers. Last year, instead of bell peppers, we did jalapeno peppers. Just come out here and pick a few green ones since they're spicy and eat them. But yeah, this year we're only...
What are those seeds there?
And then these seeds our Table Queen Squash Heirloom and Wolf and Butternut.
Can you show the camera?
Wolf and Butternut Squash Heirloom. So these are the two squashes we're having.
So last year we did all three. We did acorn, butternut, and spaghetti squash. And for some reason, the spaghetti squash, which is, I mean, it's still delicious, but it's my least favorite of the three, just took over. And that's the only squash we had. We had a ton of them. So yeah, this year really going for the butternut and acorn squash. And there you have it. Tomatoes watered in. Seeds are planted for the squash. Peppers. Hopefully they do their thing. Yeah. So I'll bring you back when we're ready to plant the little seedlings, and everything should be happy. Thanks for joining. See you guys.